So the next part of R2D2 we're going to be focusing on is going to be the main section of the body. So to do this in object mode, we're going to go ahead and do Alt H to display all the elements that we want to see. And as you can see, the model doesn't share the same material, at least in the main body. So to go ahead and correct this, you see the main body selected right here. I'm going to go down to materials, material properties, and if I click on this one right here, I click on this one, as you can see, it is now displaying the material that the one above is sharing. So let's go ahead and focus and unwrap this, and then afterwards we'll go ahead and adjust all the scaling. So with the main body selected, I'm going to go ahead and do Shift H to hide everything else I don't want to see. And as you can see, I already have a pretty good unwrap as it is. So we're going to go ahead and work with that and take the parts that we can and push those to the side and then unwrap the ones that we need to. So let's go ahead and focus on the main body of R2D2. So to do that, I'm going to go to edit mode, and then I'm going to just select on face mode that ring right here that, as you can see, is very nicely set up. So if you do Alt and click on that, you have the whole selection, and then you go into the UV edit screen right here. I'm going to select all of this. And on the off chance that it's attached to some of the other pieces, I'm going to go ahead and go to UVs and do split, and then take this and move this right here to the top. And then as you can see now, nice, it has good proportions. Maybe it could be scaled a little bit because it's a little bit squashed to square, so I will non-uniform scale this on the red axis and squash it up so the square is a little bit more even in size or in proportion. So now that that's done, I'm going to take this one, set it to the side, and then we're going to do the same for this one right here. Just click on this one, and then I'm going to move it to the selected in the UV screen and move it to the top, put it out of the way. And as you can see, the proportions, this one's probably scaled a little bit too much. So I'm going to go ahead and scale this down so the proportions match the square of the main body here. And then clicking on the white cursor, so this one's selected, scale until right there. Just do it by eye. It doesn't have to be super perfect, but as long as more or less the proportions on it look okay, you're doing pretty good. So now that that's done, we can move this to the side here because we're not going to be using this. And then now we're going to go down towards the section where, as you can see, it's not as easy as I would hope, but we can sort that out. So let's go ahead and take all of the pieces that we know we're going to be using. So I'm going to go ahead and select these right here and these right here, which these are already nicely unwrapped for me, so that's good. Very nice. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my UV screen, select them all, and on the off chance they're attached to another piece that I don't want to have it be affected, I'm going to go to UV, and I'm going to do to split selection, and then I'm going to put it to the side. So now that's been put to the side. As you can see, again, same scaling issue. It's probably sharing too much UV space. So I'm going to go to scale, all of them selected, go on the white ring, and then start to scale this down where the squares kind of have the same size as the main body. That's good. And I can leave that there for now. And then again, do all the easy parts that you can see that are already done for you, so that then it's this bottom section right here. Select all of this. Go to UV, split, selection, put it to the side. And again, after you pull it to the side, move it down here a little bit. And then you're going to scale it again. As you can see, I scaled it on the wrong axis, so I'm going to go ahead and undo. And then I'm going to again scale it where the proportions of these little squares are kind of more or less the same. And take this and put this to the side right here. And now it's going to be doing the parts that are not so easy. So let's go ahead and let's see, how do we start with this? The first one would be you select these two right here, Shift, and then you hit U, which, as you can see, unwraps it. After you unwrap it, you take it to the top, and when you hit unwrap it, it automatically creates a seam for you. So there's two ways of doing it. With something more complex, like something organic, is probably best to draw your seams, but with something like this mechanical 90-degree angles, you could just, of course, hit unwrap and it'll do the trick for you. So I'll go ahead and do the other corresponding faces because it's going to have the same proportion. And again, hit U. And then hit U, and as you can see, it unwrapped it for me. Select it all, put it to the side, and then I'm going to go ahead and do the one that I just unwrapped and hit Shift right here, so I have both of them. Select both of these two in the menu, and then if I select them both, I'm going to go ahead and scale them so the proportions match to the other ones. So you can see smaller, 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 smaller. Zoom in a little bit for more control. It's good enough. And go ahead and put it to the side, because after I've done with this, we're going to take all of these and combine them together so we have it all in a nice little package. So now that we've done that, we can do the same for all the other ones. So let's go ahead and take this one right here. Book, 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 book. It's good. U on this screen. Separate it to the side. Select all of them. Duke, 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 duke. And this menu, hit U. Separate that to the side, and now I'm going to want to get that, select that other corresponding piece, add to the selection so I can see them all displayed at the same time and under my UV menu. Now that I have both of them selected, I can just go right here, scale. I can move them together if I like, but I'm being lazy in this occasion, so I'm going to scale them down. So again, the proportions are close to the ones for the other pieces. So scale it, scale it, scale it, scale it. Close enough. And we can just go ahead and push these to the side. Well, so now as you can see, we have just these four little pieces right here of mesh. Select those, and I'm just going to unwrap it all at once. I think it'll weld them together. So once I have all of them selected, I hit U, as you can see. It's unwrapped all of them. And put these down to the side. And then the same deal as the other ones. Scale this so the proportions are kind of the same for the rest of it. Let's see. Cool. Good enough. So now that I've done for all of these, you see this one right here, for example, could use an adjustment. You're probably going to do a little bit of tweaking as you work with this, because as you can see, this one is probably a little bit too big. So now that I have all these selected, again, scale with the white gizmo till it's a little bit bigger. And there you go. Now it's done. So now that I've got all of these mostly scaled up, I'm going to go hit L and select the whole element. And as you can see, once I've selected the whole element, you can see how the whole thing looks in general. So from this look, the main body has a little too much. It's a scale a little too big in relation to the other one. So I'm going to take the main piece right here, scale it down a little bit, and then top. So this one. Oops. So it's this one. Scale this one a little bit. And cool. So now as you can see, I have a nice unwrap for all of these, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take all these elements and put them close together so I could have them nicely grouped. When it comes down to organizing the final unwraps, I'll take this. Always get the biggest piece and then start taking the smaller one. So on this occasion, I'm going to take these right here. And when you're taking these pieces and arranging them, try to think in working in squares. So when you putting these together, try to arrange them together into some shape that you kind of gives you a square outline. So on this occasion, I'm going to go ahead and move these down here. And let's see this one. Move that one down to the side. Good. these right here, get these down to the bottom. You see, and if you have these little areas like this that are empty, feel free to take advantage, and you can just take these and fill these in those little spaces. And my snap's on, so I'm going to go ahead and turn that on so I can do this a little bit more precisely. So like this. Move these down. You have to take advantage of the space and kind of consider how you align everything, because in the end, if it's too messy, you're going to not utilize all the space correctly. So I'm going to take these right here, move them down, place them in this little area, separate a little from here. And for me, I'm going to probably bring this into Substance Painter, so I'm going to leave everything unique, so that's why I'm not mirroring at all, so it's easier to work with in Substance Painter. And then now that I have the last one right here, these two, I'm going to place them a little bit closer. So in this occasion, as you can see, I could use the shape of this to fit the first one, and the second one can just line it up to the side. So when you're doing these unwraps, you're going to be doing a lot of tweaking and a lot of moving these pieces until you get to the final arrangement. For the time being, this whole area is go ahead and blocked and grouped together, which is good. I have the whole selection. It's more or less nice unwrapped. So I'm going to go ahead and object mode. And in object mode, I'm going to go do Alt H to see everything. And as you can see, there's a difference in proportion, so I'm going to go ahead and say that I'm going to say this one right here is going to be my main proportion that I'm going to go use for the whole body. So I'm going to go back to the head, and I'm going to adjust the head so it has the similar proportions to this. So with the head selected, I'll go into my UVW space. I'll go to edit mode. As you can see, all of it is already nicely selected for me. So with all of it selected for me, I'll select it all here. And I will start to scale this down where the proportions fit a little bit closer to the one of the body. Cool, nice. And it's in, as you can see, it's over here. And when I click on go into object mode, the body is, I go to edit mode, the body is over here. So everything's nicely selected. Now we have two pieces. With two pieces done, I'm going to go ahead and stop this video, and then the next one we're going to be focused on working on the leg. Thank you.